Good morning everyone. In the last session, we started about the important concept called string JDBC. Okay. Under this particular string JDBC, what are the main components we discuss here? So basically, whenever we are trying to work with the normal JDBC, everything we need to handle with the help of this particular try block. Because here we are going to use the important concept called SQL exception. The SQL exception is a SQL exception we need to handle one by one. Like when even we are trying to make the connection, or if we are trying to process the operation, like cut operation, and if we are trying to delete the particular collection, like remove the collection from the database. So in that case also, we need to use the try and catch block. So this is the main drawback we are going to have whenever we are trying to work with this particular normal JDBC. But same thing, whenever I am trying to implement with this particular Spring JDBC, so what exactly we are going to do is it? Here we are going to provide the Spring JDBC template. The template, it is going to take care of the boilerplate code here, so whatever the collection related code, and only will focus on the operation related code here. So operation means what are the data we are going to be inputted, what are the data updates, and we detailed the mistake. So this type of operations only we are going to do with the help of this particular template here. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the hierarchy. Normally how it is going to be called here. The same hierarchy will follow. Like from the business service, it will call the business DO, and from this particular business DO, it will try to connect to the database. Like here, so this is something like a service, and here we are going to have implementation of this particular service, and this particular service it is going to be connected to the DO. Okay, DO, and this particular DO internally it will try to connect to this particular database here. So this is what we need to understand. So here we are going to be use the DB. It will try to process the different type of operations, like you can work with the cut operations. Okay, so these are the basic hierarchy we need to follow whenever we are trying to work with this particular Spring JDBC here. And normally, so when this particular exceptions are going to be get basically whenever we are trying to make the connection, whenever we are trying to update the operation, whenever we are trying to release the connection, so it may be throw an exception, and the exception in the Spring we are going to work as an unchecked exception. The exception is unchecked exception. So this is very important here. Unchecked exception and the checked exception. Okay, unchecked and checked. The unchecked basically it is not going to throw an exception while we are implementing this particular application. Okay, while we are trying to implement the application. But checked exception, so normally it will try to throw an exception whenever we are trying to write the code. So that will be already observed in when we are trying to work with the normal Java applications, like core Java applications here. Okay, and here, so what we understand, what is the main unchecked exception? Unchecked exception means data access exception. So data access exception is basically it is the unchecked exception. So this is the top level exception we are going to be used in the Spring JDBC. So this unchecked exception it will take care of handling all the exception related processes. So and whenever we are working with this particular unchecked exception, so here we are not going to be use the try and catch block. We are not going to be implement the try and catch block. So the try and catch block basically when we are going to get an exception, if we want to handle an exception, in that case we'll use this particular try and catch block. Okay, even if you are getting an exception, so that is taken care by the Spring JDBC. So this is the advantage we are getting from this particular Spring JDBC. All the exception related information Spring JDBC is going to be handled, and the second one is so Spring template. Like Spring JDBC, it is provided with another important section called template. So what exactly the template which is going to do here? So template basically it is going to manage the fixed part of the process. Fixed part of the process means, and here we are going to have the connection related. So connection related and transaction related information and commit and roadmap related information closing the particular resource. So this is a fixed process. It means so normally whenever we want to connect to this particular database, what we will do basically here, so we'll do the different type of operation. Like first year, so So we'll try to prepare the resource. Resource means what are the database we are going to build and what are the information we need to collect to connect this particular specific resource. Like for example, if the DB is having Oracle, so now what we will do, the Oracle related username and password, URL, header and schema. So these are the specific information we need to collect it, and after collecting we'll try to make the connection to this particular Oracle DB. So this is the connection part, is the fixed part, and at the same time transaction related. Okay, transaction related information, like whenever we are trying to process the data, so the data is going to be processed for the transactions. So the transaction also we are going to make as under the template, because it is also fixed part. So connection and transaction, and here commit and rollback. So because once this particular data is processed, we need a commit and rollback here. Commit and rollback. So what we will do basically, the commit and rollback here. The commit and rollback basically it will do whenever we process the data into the database. If the data is successfully stored, so we need to save permanently. So whenever we want to save the data permanently, we need to commit. Okay, and whenever we are going to get any exception, we need to roll back. The data should roll back, because while inserting we got some exception, so the exception data we cannot insert. The exception data we cannot insert. Because of that, we need to roll back it. And yes, after that, so here we are opening the connection. Here opening the connection, and here the last step. So we need to close the connection. Once the operations are completed, we need to close the connection. So these are the fixed operations, like opening the connection and opening the transaction and committing and roll back the respective data and close the connection. So these are the fixed parts. So this fixed part basically we use so something like a DO template. And so we are having one more option, something like a DO callback. And here what we will do, we'll try to execute the transaction. So execute the transaction means here we'll process this CUD operation. And once this particular data is processed here, so whenever we are trying to get the data, we need to return the data. Okay, for reading purpose, what we will do basically, we return the data from the database. So these particular execution related operations now we are going to use under the callback. So these are the two different parts are available under the Spring JDBC, whatever the module we are going to be working. The first one is template. It will take care of all the repeated code, like we call it as a boilerplate code here. So whenever we are trying to work with the normal JDBC, in the each and every method, so we used to write the open connection, close connection, open transaction, and so do the different type of operations. But here, whenever we are trying to work with the JDBC template, like a Spring JDBC, what we will do, so this is going to be taken care by the template. This particular piece of code is going to be taken care by the template only. So we need to focus on this particular DO callback. It's something like we need to focus on the executing the respective query. So this is what we need to understand. Okay, this is what we need to understand. So now, here, what exactly we are going to do here? We'll see what are the templates we are having and what are the different callbacks we are having. And here, and while connecting, like when opening the connection and opening the particular transaction, while committing the respective data, or while closing this particular connection, so we may get an exception. So the exceptions also is going to handle by the DO exception. So we discussed about the data access exception. So that is the top level exception. Okay, and here, what are the different templates we are having there? So to understand the templates here, normally we'll work with the JDBC template. Okay, we'll work with the JDBC template. So this particular JDBC template, it is going to work as the normal JDBC template. Okay, And another one is so simple JDBC template. Normal one is simple JDBC template, and another one is Hibernate template. Hibernate template. So Hibernate template which is going to be connected with the ORM server. And here, so we are going to have so JPA template. JPA template. So these are the different type of templates we are having. So we need to use based on our requirement. So first we'll work with the simple JDBC template here, because here we are going to use the string related here. So we are not going to work with the normal JDBC here. So because of that, here we'll work with the simple JDBC template here. So we'll see how we can implement this particular template. And here, so internally this template classes are going to be used by the support classes, but the support classes no longer available from the 4 version here, but only so up to 3 version the support classes are available. Okay, the DO support classes. So normally, what exactly is the support classes will do? Whenever we are trying to call the respective object from the business service, so from the business service it will call to be the DO support, and let me write here, so something like so business service. So here we are having one of the important support class called DO support. Okay, and from this particular DO support here, we'll call the so DO template. So whatever the template we are discussing, these are the templates. From the template, now it will try to call the database. Now it will call the database. So this is the hierarchy. But in the 4 version and 5 version, the support is no longer available. So directly we can call it into the template, DO template. Okay. So initially they implemented the support, so that support internally will call the respect to template. So we'll see what are the different type of support classes we are having and how we can work with those support and the template classes here. So same way, what about the template we answer? Let me show you the support and the template classes here. So now this is something like core package, and here I will go for the package called JDBC. It will work again. So I will create a JDBC only. Under this particular JDBC, we will create a one class called something like Spring JDBC main I'm going to create. So this is the main we'll use here. And let me change the factor. Okay, so this here. Now here, yesterday we already added the particular library. What are the libraries we added here? So now if you go to this particular form.xml, yesterday we added this particular Spring JDBC dependency. Okay, now whenever we are adding, now what is the support class we can work with? So the support class basically simple JDBC. Here you can see. So what happening basically, here the particular DO and template. So the DO and templates are deprecated. Okay, so for whatever we discussed here, so this particular templates are DO deprecated. But now, so what is the template class we are going to be using? What is the template class we are going to use? Now if you observe, here we are having one more DO class called JDBC DO support. JDBC DO support. Now you can see, so JDBC DO support we are having. So this is something like one of the support class. And here you can see it is an optional class. It is extending the DO support. And what we are doing, here we are having JDBC template. Here we are going to use JDBC template. And we are having the data source. Okay, data source we are having, create JDBC template by passing the data source here. And we are going to have get data source here, then data source. These are the some database related configuration. Okay. Now if you see the template, now if you see this particular template, what we are having, the same information you will have here also. Same information you will have here, but only the difference is here. So here, along with the connection, we are going to have a methods to connect with the database to process the different type of operation. Let's say I want to insert the data. I want to insert the data into this particular database. Normally, how we will do this particular insert the data here? Here we are going to work with this particular queries here. Here we are going to work with this particular method. The respective method internally, it will try to provide the insert the data into the database. So these are the specific methods we are going to have. Now you can see create connection proxy and execute we are having. Here we provide the callback method. We see the how this execute it is going to be implemented internally. Now here you can see the query. Here we can provide the string query and the results the text. It is a return type of the data what we are going to return from the database. And this is the query we need to provide. So we'll see the query method and executive method how it is going to be implemented. But here if you see, we are throwing an exception called data access exception. We are not throwing the SQL exception. Getting from because this data access exception internally it is implemented by the Spring JDBC. Okay, so we observe the JDBC and the template. Template which is going to have more because the template only it will try to connect it to the database with a different type of method and for the different operations here. Okay, so now I just suggested that DO the JDBC DO support no longer available from the 4 version. So directly we can use the template. The template also internally it will try to connect it to the data source and it will do the different type of operations. Okay, so JDBC driver manages the data source. So now whenever we are trying to work with this particular JDBC, so here we need to work with the data source object. So why we need to work with the data source object here? Because the data source internally it will have the connection like database related information. So now if you see this particular data source, what happening here? Here we are having connection method and logger method, timeout. So this particular data source internally it is implemented by one important class called driver manager data source. So this is the one of the implementation of this particular data source. So what we are doing is driver manager data source. We are providing the URL, we are going to provide the username, and we are going to provide the password. So using this particular thing, now what we will do basically, we will connect to the data source. We will connect the data source. So this is the way we connect the data source. And I already installed the data source here, so we'll use this particular data source related information here. So normally we'll see what is the data source. Can you okay. Yeah, this is the DBehavior. Now mostly I installed my MySQL I guess, but let me see. So current version 222. Later we can close it, later we can update this. Okay, so download driver. And we will compose and manage the data about the people here. Ignore that. Okay, so here these are the previous example what we discussed here, but here you can see Spring JDBC related, okay, and microservice internet banking, some Hibernate related. But same way we'll work with the same example. Like first we'll start with JDBC, and what is the database we created? Spring JDBC URL, okay, and here what is the URL we provided? What is the URL we provided? Now here you can see view database. So the name of the database is given as a Spring database, and I'm working with the PostgreSQL. Okay. So in my local, I'm having the Postgres database. So same way you can work with MySQL, you can work with Oracle database, but only some of the similar changes we are going to have. Each database is going to have a syntaxes are a little bit different here, so that we need to follow based on our requirement here. Based on our requirement here. Okay, but now we are going to use this particular Postgres. The Postgres related configurations we are going to use. Postgres related database we are going to use. Now, so we'll see what I'm doing here. So schema, what is the schema? Public schema I created, and what are the table I created. So now these are the different type of tables. So book, login, person, reader, register, row. Okay, so these are the table we created. And now I will delete this particular table and we can recreate the same table using our current program. Okay. So to understand it, to connect to this particular Postgres database, what we need here? We need this particular data source option, driver manager data source option, and we are what is expecting URL, where this particular the Postgres database is available, and what is our username and what is the password. Okay, so this is the main information. Now currently, what we are doing, we are going to work with XML configuration. Currently, we will work with XML configuration. Whenever we are trying to work with XML configuration, what we can do now? So same, here we need to create the particular string extension in version 3 XML we got it. So here we can use this particular the version electricity. Instead of using this, now we can go for the one more type. We create this instead of string underscore JDBC. Okay. Now here what I will do, I'll change to the will work with Beans3. Okay, Beans3 we can work here, and now we observe the data source also. So first I want to create a data source. If I want to create a data source here, now what we will do basically here we create a data source option, and we observe the class. What is the class we are going to be using? So just now we discussed about it. This is the class. Okay, driver manager data source, because this is the one of the implementation of data source, because data source is an interface. You can see data source is an interface. So we cannot create objects for this particular interface. So we need to create an object, the implementation class, that is called driver manager data source. So now I'm providing this particular class information, and here so driver manager data source, and here what we can understand, if you go to this particular driver manager data source, here it is calling the constructor. Okay, so these are the constructors. This is something like a one parameter constructor, this is something like a three parameter constructor, and this is something like this is also two parameter, but the second parameter it is expecting properties, and this is the different constructor, but it is duplicated. And here you can see set driver class name properties. Okay, so and another one is driver class name we can provide. Okay, and another information what we provide here, so username and password. So these are user URLs and username and password. Here normally what we use, we are calling the method set URL, set driver class name, set username and set password. Directly also we can call the method. So to call the method, normally what we'll follow here, we'll follow the property. What is the name? So here you can see driver class name. So we provide the value. And the second one is property. Name, what we can provide is, so URL we can provide. Okay, we can provide the URL. And property name, username, value. So we'll copy this information, but currently property name, password, value. Okay, so these are the basic information. These are the basic information we need to follow whenever we are trying to work with this particular data source. So we observe the data, but this data source it is going to call from the way templates. If you see here inside this particular JDBC support if we are having JDBC template, and JDBC template internally it is trying to call the data source. So we need to provide the template object. What is the template we are using? JDBC template. Now if you want to use this particular JDBC template, here you need to go for the particular class. So this is the class. This is the class. Now created one more thing. Okay, so this is the bean ID. And what is the bean ID we can provide here? This is something like a JDBC template. Oh. Okay. Now we observe this bean ID template class. And here, what is expected? The template internally it is expecting the data source. Internally it is expecting the data source. Now what we can do? Property name, data source here. Rest we can provide the data source. We can provide the data source. So template we created, data source. Now this template where we are going to use. This template we are going to use in our current example. In our current example we are going to use. Okay. So we'll see the basic example how we can use it to come up with this particular connection related example. So that is not the auto closing here. Basically here you need to close this particular tag, so automatically the end tag will remove it. Just I did the format of this particular code. Okay, so first we'll see the person related example. Inside this particular JDBC, now what I'm doing is I'm going to create one model. Okay, so before going to create under the JDBC, now I will create one package called model. Okay, under this particular model, I'll create one person class. So this person will try to work with the database operation. Okay, so name of the person, and the address, and the last one is email we can provide. So 4 columns. Okay, we can provide the 4 columns: ID, name, address, and email. So this is we understand here. So this is the person class. Now what we will do? Get the sense. Okay, so this is the creation of the method. Now once we created this, now what is the next step we are going to be using? Here we are going to be using the important called service. Okay, service class. Sorry. So we don't need package info, but we need a package. So JDBC service, under the service, I am going to create one interface called person service. So because in the real-time applications also, we follow the same structure. Okay, this is the person service. Now what I am doing is, you can remove the public key, so directly you can provide the string save person. Okay, save person, and here I am trying to provide the person. This is the first method, and the second method, get person based on this particular language. I'm going to load the person. And the third one is person date person by providing this particular person, by providing this particular field person as a parameter. So finally, we created the interface, and these are the three methods. These are the three methods. Now what I will do inside this particular service, I'm going to create a one implementation class called person service. These are the three methods. So now this is yours, and whenever we are working with this particular person, what we will do is here we are going to cover the DO. Okay, so DO. Now what exactly the DO will do now? Data. So just now we discussed is the hierarchy. We need to follow the same hierarchy. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one more package called DO. So this is DO. It is related to the particular database. So now this DO, whenever we are having one class, no need to create the interface directly. We can create the implementation class. So now this is a you can go for this particular person DO. Okay, and here now what I'm doing here I'm going to work with this particular template related. The fun is private JDBC template here, JDBC template. And after that, here what I will do, now I am going to create the methods. What are the methods we are having here? So just copy the same method. So for whatever this method we are adding, copy the same method. Okay, this is. But finally, the save person we are going to call from the JDBC template. Now here what I will do, JDBC template dot what we can do, insert person. So we can go for this particular query, and these are the query overloaded methods. So based on our requirement, we can use. Okay, normally we use the first one. Normally we can go for this particular inserting, right? So insert purpose. Normally, so what we can do this particular insert purpose here. So query it is not needed here. We can go for the template. Update, we can provide the parameter. Update, here we can provide the respective parameter. So to provide this particular parameter, now what I'm doing here I'm going to provide the same query we need to create here. String final so insert query. So insert query, normally what we will follow is insert query. So normally what is the query we are going to be following? Here we will follow the insert into what is the table name, person, and what are the column we are having, and ID, name, address, and email. Now go to the person, name, address, and email. Yeah, correct. Now here values. So values, what you can do, you can provide the question mark, first question mark, second question mark, third one, and the fourth question mark. So this is the insert query. Now here what I'm doing is, here I'm working with this particular insert query, and person dot get ID, person dot get name get address, get email. Okay, so this is we are going to be using. JDBC template update insert query person.getID name address and email. So these are the parameters we are passing to insert this particular query. And here this particular template basically what exactly it will return here. Okay, so this is basically it will return the update. Whenever this update and greater than 0, so what we can provide you record inserted successfully. Record inserted successfully. So and otherwise what we can provide here. So it's simply I'm trying to return as we got X. While inserting the record, got exception. Okay. This is the method I'm going to return. Now we understand this. This is the case method. First we'll work with the case, later we can work on the different. Now finally, what we are doing? So this is important here. Here we created the person, and the person having the simple fields there, ID, name, address, and email. After that, we created the service, and after that, we created the DO. And from this particular service, I am here. Now I need to call the service person DO dot person DO. Why I am making this? Because inside the DO only, now we are going to call the save person, and here person DO dot get person and the ID, and the last one person DO dot update person. Okay, so these are the particular methods I'm calling the DO related method. So finally, so this is the hierarchy it will call. How this hierarchy is going to be called here? So service. This is the service, and it will call the service IAML, and from the service IAML we are calling the DO. From the DO, now it is going to be connected to the database. Now it is going to be connected to the DB. Okay, so this is the process, like this is the hierarchy we are following to insert this particular person record. Okay. Now, so what are the objects we need to create? What are the objects we need to create? So if I want to call this person DO, I need a person service object. How I am going to be called here? Here you can see bean ID person service class here. What is the package we are having? JDBC. Here we are having. So JDBC dot service dot person service element. Okay, what is expecting here? Property. What is the name of the property? Okay. So here person service element. Here we need to set the person service. Okay, so this is the person service. Now here you can set the person DO. Right here person DO. So this is declared one object. And the second one, bean ID is equal to person DO class here JDBC dot DO dot person DO. And here what I'm doing is one more property. Here we are using the template. So such as JDBC template. Now I can set the JDBC template. And the reference is JDBC template. So we made all the objects. Okay, we made all the objects. So JDBC template, person service, and person zero. So now what I will do inside this particular mail, let me copy the application context. And here, so string underscore JDBC dot XML. Person service is equal to person service. Okay, and after that person service dot save person. So before calling this particular save person, we need to create a person object. Set ID, simply I am giving 1, 2, 3. Person dot set name, we can give as a string and font JDBC. Person dot set address is JDBC set. Okay, and the person dot set email. The email basically JDBC at the rate string.com and person. I'm calling this particular person. Okay, so now what happens? If I'm going to run this example, what type of error we are going to be get? Now we'll try to fix one by one because the person table is created. As of now, we did not create it. So what is expecting? Property URL. Okay, so we did not add the URL. So what is the URL we need to add here? Okay, so to understand this, now if you observe, just I'm trying to show you from the Google Postgres URL. So username and password. Now to specify how this URL is contained, just we need to copy it. To this one. So you can see JDBC Postgres SQL database. So this is we need to provide. Now you can see the URL. What we are having JDBC Postgres SQL localhost and that is the database name. Now for our case, what I will do, go to this particular variable and find out what is the table. So here we are trying to use this particular table for we are trying to use this particular table for let me run this example whether we are having any data. Okay, so string JDBC select star from person. Okay, here we are having these are the three records. And what is the table contain the field here? The table contain the field person ID, first name and last name. Okay, but here But here we are not going to follow this particular field. We are having a different field. So now what we can do now in that case, we'll drop this particular table. Okay, we'll drop this particular table. So drop table name called person. Okay, so that table is updated. That is nothing is here. So the table does not exist. So we need to create a table. How we are going to create a table now? To create a table, let me refresh this. Let me refresh this particular table. So as of now, we don't have a particular table. Now here, where we are having create a table. So what is saying is table name. What is the table name? Person. Okay, person. And here columns. So what are the columns we can provide here? So currently no data. Person table we are having, comments we are having, and the constraints here. Okay. So instead of using this, now we'll try to go for the query. SQL query we can create and run this. Okay, I'm reverting this table here. We create from the SQL basis. We'll try to create a query from this particular SQL basis. So now what I'm doing here, so we need to find out the create query, how we can follow here. So this is the simple query. Okay, so this is we already used in the previous exam. In place of this particular login, what we can do, provide the custom. Provide the custom and the ID we are having, and what is the second one is name, and the third one is address. So another one is email. Another one is email. Now I'm going to run this query. Identity does not exist. Okay, so name spelling also. Okay. Identity. So in place of this identity, what we can do, int we can provide, and this is the primary. Okay, so take it. Now if I'm going to be run this, select the query. Okay, where this table is created, here only is created. Oh, so this is also drawn here. Drop this table. Okay. Now we have so ID, name, address, and email. These are the table we say. But currently, what we need, so we need to provide these. So the username, URL, and password related stuff. Okay. So how I am going to provide here? How I am trying to providing this particular information. So to provide this particular information, normally what we are doing is, so we'll call this particular file. Now if you observe, copy this, and here go to this particular string JDBC. Here we did not provide the value. Now JDBC colon PostgreSQL and the local host. Okay, local host. After that, we need to provide the port number. The by default port number is 5432. Okay, 5432. And another one, what we can understand here. So we need to provide the something like we need to provide the database name. So what is the database we are going to be using? So that is something that you can check here. What we are using it. So this is our database. Now if you see this particular view, edit connection. Database name what we are having. Database name is string database. What is the username and what is the password? So this is the password. And now you can see URL how we are getting it. So this is the bit. Okay. Now you can see you can copy directly this one. You can copy directly this is the URL. So whatever we copied it, this is also same. But in case of the test, what we are providing string database. And the username. So username is this is the form. Okay. Replace the username. And what is the password we are having? Password. So if I am going to copy, you cannot copy text as a password field. Okay. So what I will do, the password I will enter. What is the password I created? Mostly this is the password. Okay. So something like Java type. Okay, yeah, this is the password. Now we'll run the same example now. Okay, so we need to understand here what is saying the driver class. Driver class. The driver class name, if you go to here, what we are providing here, properties only we are having. There is no driver class name. So driver class name basically, so this is the one we can do. Let me go to the JDBC version. Here we are providing the value manager. Okay. The driver class name for this particular Postgres. For the Postgres SQL, Postgres SQL.driver. This is the driver class. Why we are adding this particular driver class? So it will try to generate the Postgres related queries. It will generate the Postgres related queries. So for queries means currently whatever we are using. This is the one of the queries. Okay, currently we are providing the manual query. But what happens basically whenever we are trying to work with Hibernate or JPA, so the JPA frameworks and Hibernate frameworks are going to be provided the queries by default based on the respective fields. So we'll see how it is going to be generated. And here, now I'm trying to run this example again. Now we can see here what is expecting this. Property or this beam with exception property driver class name could not load the JDBC driver class name. So what you understand is could not load the JDBC driver class. Here the Postgres related driver class it is not available. So what we understand here we need to provide the Postgres related dependency. Postgres related dependency we need to provide. Okay. So to provide this particular Postgres related dependency, what we will do, we'll copy the Postgres jar. Okay, we'll copy the Postgres. So go to this and open the Maven repository, and here you can search the Postgres. Now here, so what is the version we are having? So we cannot go for the latest versions. So we may get some conflict here, but even though, so still we can go for the some 42. We can go for the 42 versions because we are working on the 3 versions. So now I am going to be add this Postgres. Let me refresh the form.xml to download the respective library. So it is downloaded. Now run the same example. Okay. And I can see what is an exception we are getting now. So one by one we will try to fix the each and every one. Now you can see, so the authentication type 10 is not supported. Okay, maybe it is a version related we are getting. Check that you configure the TP configuration file into the client support that using the authentication framework supported by that. What is saying here? So something different one we are getting here. Are you connected to authentication? So maybe it's time to do the authentication. So we got this exception. Server connection error. Okay, now what I will do, I want to test this. So I want to test this one. Okay. So this is not the password. Now what is the password we provided? Okay. Test the connection. Yeah. Okay. So maybe the username and password are given same. The username and password are given same only. Now let me run this. Okay. So here it is calling the save option and it's calling the save option. It is time to update the variability and calling it's time to get the connection. Maybe could not get the connection. The authentication type is not supported. Okay. So we'll see this error from the Google. Not sure why this is error suggesting. The connection object is failing, but maybe it is because of the version related issue or some other. Let me search from the Google. No, connection object we cannot see. Postgres 15. We'll see this one. What is an error we are getting here? So created. These are the annotation related only. So same way we created data source we created. We are calling the data source, and this is the customer related. Now what's saying is solve the similar issue by applying the step below. What can succeed? MD5 into point. So maybe we'll update this. Instead of changing, we can go for the 42 version. We are under the 42 2.0. Let me go for this. We'll see with some latest version here. Okay. Yeah. So I think now we got the different here. So what is saying basically? So here if you see, insert into person, what are the fields we are having? ID, name, address, email. And these are the values. So value 2, okay, what is saying is wrong for the character value. It is a data type mismatch. The type character. First one is long only, no? It is too long. Character value. So what is the character value we provided here? Address. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let me drop this table. Okay, now here D into primary. Okay. Now, okay. So now if you see, so it is completed successfully. We are not printing it. So while we are not printing, we need to call this with this outlet. So then only we'll get to know it. But before that, what we can do? So run this particular select. Run this particular select. So 1, 2, 3 is ID. String JDBC is the template. Address is JDBC string and email. Okay. So these are the basic end session query we did using this particular string JDBC. Now, what are the basic steps we did? First, to work with this particular string JDBC, so you need to install the Postgres. Okay. So this is the Postgres I have. Instead of providing this, we'll go for this. So now, control panel, install a program, and you can search Postgres. So now I'm using the Postgres again. So the Postgres you need to install locally, and after installing you need to work with the dbase. So this is the one. So I'm using this is the dbase. So these are the two we need to install. These are the two we need to install when we are trying to work with this particular Postgres example is it. And after that, so you will get the connection properties. So you will go for the URL. The URL will be the same, but whenever you are trying to create a database, maybe this will change. So how we are going to create a database here? So now here, click the plus icon, the top right, select the Postgres view, click on the next here, and host is localhost. Use the database name. So you cannot use the database name as a host. So you can give the whatever the database you want to create and password. So first select the test connection. If it is working successfully, so you can finish. Okay. So this is the way you can create a new database. Okay. So in our example, what are the databases I created? So these are the different databases, but currently we are working with this particular string database. Okay. Is it clear? Any questions? Okay. So what you want to know so that I can explain? It's a simple here. Currently, whatever the program we did, so that is using Java only. Now you can see, first what we did, we created the person class with a different field. Okay. So this same field, now what we did here, we created in the table also. ID, name, address, and email. These are the 4 fields we created using this particular simple SQL query. And after that, what we did, we created the person service. Here we have 3 methods. The first one, save person, second one is get person, and third one is update person. But we'll work on the first one, save. So we are trying to insert the data into the database. So because of that, what we did, the 3 methods we overrided, like we implemented into this particular person service IMPS. And here, so here you need to understand very carefully. So if you go to the instrument here, okay, in the previous example, we discussed more on this particular instrument. What we did is, we provided the dependent object. What is the dependent here? Instrument. Okay. In a current example, what is the dependent object is person zero. Person zero. Okay. Whenever we are having a dependent object, normally what will follow here? So we'll follow like this. So this is the person service, and it is depending on the person zero. So we are using the property. Why we are using the property? Because here we are calling the set person zero. We are calling the set person zero. So this is what we need to understand. Okay. And after that, what we did here? So we'll go to the person zero. So this simple method we are calling and person zero. And person zero internally it is depending on the JDBC template. And here we are calling the set JDBC template method. Now go to this, and this is the person zero, and we are having the property JDBC template. Okay. And internally this JDBC template, it is expecting the data source. This JDBC template, it is expecting the data source. Here you can see We are calling the set to data source. So whenever we are calling the set to data source, what is the property we call? Okay. Now go to this particular string JDBC. Here we are having v name called JDBC template, and internally we are having the property called data source. Okay. So why we are using the property? Because internally we are calling the setter method, and this is the data source object. This is the data source object we provided with the respect to the database credentials. We provided with the respect to database credentials, username, password, URL, and wherever class. So this is the way we can connect it to this particular database with help of this string. So you can click on this particular plus icon. You can select the DB should available here. Okay, this is a tool basically. It will try to connect to the multiple databases. Like Postgres, we can connect to DB2, this MariaDB, MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server. These are the different type of DBs. So you can search here. Okay, so this is not the MongoDB. This is the different DB. So this particular tool, it is not going to be supported to the MongoDB. So when we are working with the MongoDB, so mostly here we can use the Compass only. This Compass will help you to create all the information. So let's try this. Yeah, I think it's connected. What are the database I created here? So here you can see these are the default databases we got it here. Now click on the create database. You can provide the database name and collection name. So collection name means the particular respect to table name you can provide and you can create. Let's see, I have a table. Yeah. So this is the table. So this is the startup log, the MongoDB table I created for one of the examples here. So now ID, host name, start name, and these are the objects we are having. These are the objects I have in here. So it's a simple to create here. So now this particular dbehavior, it is not going to be supported when you are working with the MongoDB. You need to create this particular, like you need to work with the MongoDB Compass. Everything you can search. If you go to the admin, so here we are having once we completed this Postgres example, we'll see the MongoDB how we can connect here. So the structure little bit changed here. So we need to create the different type of information here. So we'll see how we can work it. Now these are the some active related examples we discussed in the previous. So you can write the filters. You can get the respective results. But I think simply unless we don't have information, yes, we'll review this. So we'll try to run one example with help of this particular MongoDB also. Okay, yeah, we'll see this. So meanwhile, if you want to work with MongoDB, I think I have one example. Spring Boot with MongoDB we have. If you want to work with the MongoDB, yeah, you can refer this URL. Yeah, we can work on this MongoDB, but it will take a few more days because we are working on the Spring related changes. So once we completed this particular Spring related changes, so we'll do whenever we are trying to work with the Spring Boot. So at the time of Spring Boot, we'll do the MongoDB related changes. Okay, so we'll see all the DB example here one by one, but first we need to discuss the Spring related concept first. Okay, let me commit these changes. So for whatever we discussed here, any files we are having, and whatever changes we had it. Okay. So Spring JDBC insert example. Spring JDBC insert example. Okay, so now I'm going to commit and you can take the latest changes and you can find it. Okay, yeah, we'll continue on Monday.